What is up, legends? Mark here. I hope you are ready for the greatest video in the history of YouTube. If that's what you're looking for, you are in the right place. Why didn't the gurus teach me this? I'm going to reveal some things to you in this video that you don't really see anywhere online. You won't see your favorite guru talking about it on YouTube. You won't see it on Reddit posts. You won't see it anywhere on the internet, really. You have to dig deep to find the shit, but lucky for you, I've done all the digging for you. And so in this video, I'm actually going to go over a few things that I wish I knew when I was starting out, specifically related to mindset. And I know what you're thinking, Mark, god damn it, can't you just spit some more ecom game? And to that I tell you, this is specifically going to be related to mindset. And the reason why, guys, is because I know it's like a cliche to say, but everything really does center around your mindset. Your success in life is solely dependent on your mindset. And the person that has an unstoppable, an unbreakable, unshakable mindset is just the type of person that cannot be fucked with. Whatever that person wants, whatever he desires, he will get. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about how I created that mindset for myself and how you can use some simple reframes and some simple new beliefs to just shed all the limiting beliefs that you have. Okay. So if you're watching this video right now, you're probably a lot like me. Especially a lot like me when I was, 18 years old, when I was initially like getting into e-commerce and kind of starting my entrepreneurial journey, right? And what I quickly realized is that anytime you start something new with an online business, the universe decides to test you. God will test you. It's going to throw you the most difficult obstacles. You're going to have events in your life that start unfolding. And if you don't have this thing in between your ears dialed the fuck in, you're just not going to make it. And what you have to understand is that if you are the type of person that I know that you are, you want extraordinary outcomes in life, you have to put in extraordinary inputs and you have to do things differently than 99% of the population. So the first most important belief that I need you to deeply understand, like if you take away one thing from this video, this is what it's going to be. Okay. Let's say that this egg-headed shape individual is you. And up here is, this is like your brain. So your brain, your mindset is going to be directly proportional to the reality that you create. So if you've never read the book Reality Transurfing, absolutely read that book, because that is foundational spiritual knowledge to having the most unbreakable, badass mindset you could possibly have. So right now, I want you to just take complete inventory of your environment. All right. What does your reality really look like? How much money are you making? What are your friends like? Are you living in the city or the state or the country that you want to be living in? Are you in the exact physical shape that you want to be? What does it really look like? And I really want you to sit down and just journal about this. Get ultimate clarity about what your actual life looks like right now. And I promise there's a reason that I'm having you do this. And the reason why I'm having you do this is your external reality. Okay, this right here, this beautiful fucking picket fence dream that you have is a direct representation of what's going on in your mind. So when you look around and you see your friends, you see your income, you see your health, you see your spirituality, that is a direct representation of everything that's going on in your mind. And so a lot of people, they see that they're not making the money that they want to make. And you know what they do? They do everything except for look inward. They look at what's going on politically. They look at what's going on in the world, what's going on with my friends, what's going on with this mentor that I invested in. And they blame everything except for themselves. I am a huge proponent of always starting inward, because your internal thought process, your subconscious brain, your conscious brain creates your external reality. And so if your external reality is something that you don't like, don't go fucking blame the system. Don't go blame your parents. Don't blame the friends. Don't blame that fucking mentor that scammed you. You need to blame yourself. Take extreme ownership and go inward. What is the reason that you yourself are actually not successful? Because the truth is, it all comes down to your beliefs. And a lot of you watching this video right now have limiting beliefs that are literally holding you back from the life that you deserve to live, the life that is your fucking dream life. There are beliefs installed in your brain right now that are keeping you from being successful. The good news is you can actually shift those beliefs from disempowering beliefs that are keeping you from the reality that you want to empowering beliefs that are giving you everything that you wanted out of life, the money that you want to make, the house that you want to live in, the cars you want to drive, whatever it is. All starts internally. So this is called an internal locus of control. The winning people in life have what's called an internal locus of control. Meaning when they look at their reality and they say, oh, I'm not making the money I want to make. I'm not living in the house I want to live in. I don't have the life that I want to live, and it's my fault. It's because of the way that I'm thinking. It's because of the environment that I have around me. That is called an internal locus of control. This is rare in the fucking 21st century. This is rare in Western society. Most people do not have an internal locus of control. They have, obviously, the opposite, which is an external locus of control, okay? Internal locus of control is you see everything that's going on in the world and you bring it down to yourself. Because if you fix the way that you think and you fix everything within your personal, spiritual, physical health, then you will get the reality that you actually want, okay? And so the first shift that you need to make is stop fucking blaming all the shit around you. I know a lot of you watching this right now would be like, oh, that's not me. I take ownership. Take it farther. All right, be a fucking extremist about your ownership. Take extreme ownership for everything in your life. The reason that shit didn't work out is your fault. The reason your girl broke up with you is your fault. The reason you're not making the money you want to make is your fault. It's all your fault. Everything about your life is your fault. Simply because you don't have an internal locus of control. You're blaming everything around you instead of going inward and working on yourself first and developing an unbreakable set of beliefs that actually align with the reality you want to create. So this is the first shift that you need to make, okay? Move from an external locus of control to an internal locus of control. Everything is your fault. Take extreme ownership for the life that you want to live. Because once you do that, the cool thing about taking extreme ownership, and again, not a lot of people talk about this, shout out to Jocko Willink for this idea, it's that everything is in your control. When you look at everything in your life and you take personal ownership, that means that it's all now within your control. So what I like to do is something that I call Stoic sparring. What Stoic sparring is looking at all the shit that's going on in your life and simply dividing it into two different columns. Column number one is things that are within your control, and column number two are things that are outside of your control. Specifically, like outside of your control would be like within reason. Who wins the fucking political election within the United States? It would be the weather. Just things that are basically completely outside of your control. Okay, so on the right here, we'll do outside your control. And then over on the left, we got inside your control. And so when you do Stoic sparring, you literally write down the shit in your life that you're going through right now, the areas of stress, the areas of anxiety, and they should either go into one of these two columns. And what you'll find is that there's actually a lot going on that is, technically speaking, outside of your control. And so what do you do if something is outside of your control and it is causing you stress and it is causing you anxiety? What do you do with those things? So what you do if you feel those emotions is you let them go. You let them go. The problem with feeling stress and feeling anxiety is that you're afraid of feeling it. There's a really phenomenal author and spiritual guide, you can call him. His name is Dr. David Hawkins. He wrote a book called Power versus Force. He wrote a book called Letting Go. And he came up with this philosophy about how there are levels of consciousness. And in his book, Letting Go, he talks about when you feel these particular emotions that are associated with those lower energy states, those lower levels of consciousness, you want to let them go. But before you let them go, it's easy to say that, right? Be like, oh, you're stressed, bro? Just let it go. It's that simple. Just let it go. That's not really how you do it. What you do it is you take time to fully feel those emotions. Let them run their course on you, and then you can let them go. Because what you're doing right now is you're feeling the stress and anxiety of the situation that you're in, despite the fact that it's outside your control, and you're just trying to escape them. You want to feel those emotions. Feel them and then let them go, okay? That is the best advice I can give you if there's something that's outside of your control and you're just feeling this sense of stress and anxiety. Now, if it's inside your control, and this is something that would fall under the internal locus of control here, this is the cool part. The best thing you need to do here is two things. A lot of times we feel like there's so much shit up in our heads, right? There's so much shit going on with work, with our jobs, with our family, with our spouses, with our girlfriends, with our boyfriends, whatever it is that you have going in your life, there's always shit happening. That's why I always try to remind myself to just be kind to the people around you, because you never really know what they're going through. You never really do. But for you, there's just a lot of shit going on in your head. The problem is it's all in your head. That is the problem. What you need to do is get it out of your head and onto paper. And so if you're feeling this is a two-step process. Number one is simply to get clarity. So by clarity, the way that you get clarity is through journaling. So when you have a lot of shit going on in your mind, pull out a piece of paper, just write everything down that you can possibly think of onto a list. You're not gonna number the list, just write them down. Like no numbers, no bullet points, just write it down one line after the other. The second part of this process, guys, is going to be to prioritize. So after you get all that shit out of your brain and you get it onto paper, that's fantastic. You now have clarity about all the shit you have to do. The next step is to prioritize and execute, okay? What is the number one thing that is going to get you closer to your goals? What is the most important and urgent thing that you need to do to get to your goals. That's going to be number one. And you're going to go through that whole list that you just wrote down, and you're going to number them in order of priority. And then from there, I mean, I didn't write the third step, but it's just to fucking take action, execute. So this is kind of the habit of Stoic sparring, as I call it, where you take all the emotions, all of the thoughts, all the to-dos, all the shit that's going on in your life when you have just so much to do, you separate it into what's inside your control and what's outside of your control. If it's outside of your control, feel the emotions and let it go. If it is inside your control, write all that shit down on a piece of paper, get clarity, and then number all the shit on your list to create the priority. And then all you have to do is execute from there. This is such an important practice. Like, if you just feel overwhelmed in life, guys, like, this is such a fucking hack. I can't even tell you. It's not complicated. A lot of times you just feel so stressed and you feel this anxiety because you have all the shit going on, but all you're really lacking is clarity. You actually don't have as much shit to do as you probably think. But if you write it down and you see it with your own eyes, you just sit back, you're like, oh fuck, this is manageable. I feel like I can do this now. This is the first lesson that I wanted to teach you. Another thing that kind of the gurus don't talk about, they're just like, bro, do journaling. Just wake up, journal, meditate, take a cold shower. That'll solve all your money problems. No, it won't. You have to actually get clarity on what is going to move your life forward, prioritize it, and fucking execute. That's how simple it is. The second thing that I want to show you guys is a reframe on risk. Anytime you want to start like an online business, you want to start a new venture, there's this big, scary 4-letter R word that is just always in your mind and creating clouds of confusion and clouds of fear and anxiety. And little do you know, that's actually keeping you from achieving your goals. It's because you feel like there's this risk of investing in yourself. You feel like there's this risk in actually building the life that you want to build. But this is not true. This is just what you've been told by media, by your parents, by your friends, and by your family. But risk is never something that you should be afraid of, because what you probably don't know is that there's 2 types of risk, okay? 2 types of risk. We have, number 1, what's called passive risk. Passive risk is the risk of staying in the same fucking place. Staying in the same place. Never taking a step to invest in yourself. Never taking a leap to achieve the life that you want to live, to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. It's just staying in the same place. And nobody talks about this risk. They only talk about, if you go with your family, you say, hey, mom, dad, I'm starting a business. They're going to say, oh, that's really risky, isn't it? Don't 90% of businesses fail within the first, year? And then 99% fail within the first 5 years? Those are not good numbers, son, daughter. That doesn't look real good. Well, what your parents or family or friends don't understand about risk is that is called active risk, okay? But they never think about passive risk. To me, the scariest thing in life, all right, this is fucking mic drop moment right here. The scariest thing in life, the biggest risk in the history of your life is staying in the same place. The biggest risk is not growing. But nobody thinks of that as a risk because there's no immediate pain. When in reality, the risks that society tells you, that your family tells you, that media tells you of investing in yourself and starting a business, they say that's the risk. Fuck that. The biggest risk is staying in the same place. The biggest risk is having a year go by and realize that you're the same person, making the same money, with the same friends, living in the same place. That scares the shit out of me. That should scare the shit out of you. Risk is twofold. Are you going to be the type of person that stays in the same place? Or are you going to be the type of person that takes the good risk, okay? Passive risk is bad. Boo. We hate passive risk. Bad passive risk. On the other hand, active risk is good. Yay, good active risk. This should be crystal clear. Let me let you guys in on a little secret, okay? This whole passive risk thing is obviously the bad type of risk, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. In life, you are never still. You're either growing or you're dying. At any point in time, you're never stagnant. So you're either growing or dying. You're either moving towards your goals or away from your goals. So I know I called it passive risk, but really the reason this is bad is because you're staying in the same place, and that doesn't mean that you're growing. So if you take that passive risk and you decide to not invest in yourself, for example, there's no growth whatsoever. There is stagnation, staying in the same place. Look out in nature, all right? Go touch grass. Is grass ever not growing or not dying? No, it's doing one or the other. Is a tree ever just deciding to stop growing. No, it's either growing or it's dying. Everything in nature is like this. Why would we be the exception as humans? We are either growing or dying. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're never in the same place. Never. That is a universal truth in life. That's why I think passive risk is the worst risk that you can take. Just staying in the same place, being the same person, never taking a step outside of your comfort zone. One of the things, again, that I wish I could tell myself when I was initially starting out, the fear is not real. What's real is discomfort and danger. And we're very rarely actually in any physical danger. We're just scared of the discomfort. We're scared of getting outside of our comfort zone. But little do you know, that is where all the growth occurs. So the opposite of passive risk is obviously active risk. This is the good risk that you want in your life. Investing in yourself. It's fucking growing. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. Do you want to be the person that comes back, and you see your family for the first time in a little while and you're the exact same person? I'm sure a lot of you right now, you have somebody in your life that you want to prove wrong. I know when I started out, I had a whole list of people that I wanted to prove wrong. People that doubted me, people that didn't believe in me. And the biggest risk I could take is to live up to that person. Live up to the person that actually doesn't take any action. Live up to the person that has no growth, that stagnates, that stays in the same position. I wanted to show those motherfuckers who the fuck Mark is. I wanted to show them. And so for me, the biggest risk was staying in the same place. And the same is true of you. That is the biggest risk you can take in life. We're not on this planet for a long time. In fucking 100 years, nobody's going to remember you. Why are you afraid of taking one little risk? The biggest risk is staying in the same place. By the way, you want a little hack for being successful ridiculously fast? Here's a little hack for you guys. If I go back to this initial drawing up here, where you have your reality is a direct reflection of what's going on in your mind. Okay, let's reverse engineer this. If you want to be a millionaire, what's the fastest way to get there? What's the fastest way to become a millionaire? The fastest way to become a millionaire is by thinking, acting, and believing like you're a millionaire already. Wake up like a millionaire. Go about your work like a millionaire. Take risks like a millionaire. And if you don't know exactly what that looks like, number one, I think you're fucking lying. I think you probably know what that life would look like. And number two, if you don't, just DM me. DM me. I'll tell you. All right. Millionaires, they wake up, they work on their business, they work on growing an asset that is providing them cash flow and that they can potentially exit in the future. They make decisions all day long and they're just constantly investing back into themselves, back into their business, back into their employees. Look, guys, I have a team myself. I try my damn hardest to invest aggressively into my team. I am always buying them courses. I'm buying them trainings. I am buying them access to masterminds, the top fucking masterminds in the space. I want them in those groups. Why? Because if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Go with a team. The fastest way to become a millionaire is simply start acting like a millionaire would act, right? And that starts actually not at your action. Let's reverse engineer this one more time, okay? If your physical reality is a direct representation of what's going on in your mind, you have to start with your mind. You have to start with your identity. And if you want to know how to build an empowering identity, I'm going to go over it right now. So your identity, you always act in accordance with your identity. There's a really, really popular book in the personal development space, and it's called Cybernetics. And in this book, the author, who is a plastic surgeon, basically talks about how people would start acting completely different as soon as they changed what they look like physically. As soon as they changed their physical reality, like what they looked like when they looked in the mirror, they started acting like completely different people. More confident, more intelligent. They just immediately started acting as if they are the person they always wanted to be. The cool part is you can do that without having to go get fucking plastic surgery. And so if we always act in accordance with our identity, how do you create an identity of a millionaire? What does that identity really look like? Well, you have to build the building blocks of the identity, which is your beliefs, your belief system. So millionaires have a specific set of beliefs that they use that actually empower them and fucking rocket them towards success. If you want to build really empowering beliefs, I'm about to tell you. So make sure you're taking notes and you come back to this video if you need to. Beliefs that are centered around your identity, they begin in this phrase. I'm the type of person that ... I'm the type of person that, and then you fill in the blank. Any mindset book, they'll talk about your fucking morning routine. They'll talk about meditation, talk about cold showers. They don't talk about building your belief system, but that's at the heart of who you are as an individual. The only reason I'm making the money that I'm making is because I have beliefs that shape the identity of a person that is rich as fuck. It doesn't have to be something boring. When I was in college, I would walk to my classes with headphones on and there would be zero music playing. I would actually be speaking to myself, and the only reason I had the headphones in was so that nobody else would talk to me. And so I'm walking to class and I'm talking to myself. But what am I saying? I'm repeating my beliefs to myself as I'm walking to my college class. For example, one of the beliefs that I had, I'm the type of person that attracts money. Money is attracted to me. Everything is a game of attraction, and you attract that which what you are. You attract what your identity is. So if you have the identity of a type of person that is broke, that means you have beliefs of a broke person. And that means you're going to act and think like a broke person would act and think. And so that means that right after beliefs, you always act in accordance with what your beliefs are. So that means that your actions are going to be shaped. Identity, beliefs, actions. Your beliefs shape your identity, and your actions are based around the beliefs that you have. So in this case, if you always act in accordance with your identity and you have beliefs that are empowering you to make more money and empowering you to be in shape, like another belief that I have is around my health. I'm the type of person that's always in good shape. And so what's action that would line up with this belief? Well, I can tell you literally from the type of person that I am. I go to the gym every single day. I know a lot of you guys are DMing me and asking my fucking gym routine and shit. I go to the gym every single day, and there's a lot of people out there that are like, Mark, that's not scientifically the best way to build muscle. You do know that, right? You do know that you should take rest days. Your body needs to rest, Mark. And to me, I don't give a shit. I understand that. The most empowering thing for me is that I do something every single day, without exception, that aligns with my belief. And so I go to the gym fucking daily. I'm happy with the way that my physique looks. Of course, I'm always trying to improve. However, for me, the gym is a very, very mental exercise. Do you know how difficult it is to go to the gym every single day for a year? Every single day. How about multiple years? I've been lifting for 6 years. Now, am I going to say that I've gone to the gym literally every single day for 6 years? No, I'm pretty damn close. And the reason why is because of the beliefs that I've shaped. For me, it's hard for me not to go to the gym. Like, I don't feel good. My body feels off if I don't go to the gym. So how can you create that addictive habit yourself? Well, again, it's going to start with the beliefs. So that action is aligning with the beliefs, which aligns with my identity. So let's take it back to this one. I'm the type of person that always attracts money. Now, what actions are going to be aligning with this? Well, the answer to that is that I'm the type of person that always takes like calculated risk. I'm always taking calculated risk. And I think a lot of you guys are like, what does a risk really mean? And you can think of it financially. You know, you can think of a calculated risk as like investing into a particular stock or a fucking crypto meme coin or buying real estate or anything that's in like traditional finance. I don't really think of it that way. I'm a huge believer in what Hormozi called investing in the S&P 500, pouring all the money that you make back into your self-education. I personally just love the process of learning how like this whole wealth game really works. I love deciphering it. It's like a puzzle to me. And every time I figure out a new piece of the puzzle, it's just a huge dopamine fire that goes off in my brain. I just get more and more addicted. There's some people, they have very, very disempowering beliefs. The perfect example is I'm the type of person that's not worthy of making a lot of money. A lot of people have that limiting belief. And if you don't, you know, sometimes all it takes is a third party person like myself to point it out. They make a lot of money and they would feel guilty. Why? Why would you feel guilty? Money is simply an outcome for you providing value to the world. So if you're providing more value to the world, you should be making more money. So there's no reason for you to feel guilty. That is a belief that is not serving you. So that's why it's so important for you to just take some time to figure out what your goal identity really should be. And again, the book Psycho-Cybernetics does a fantastic job on this, very, very practical, but you should hold in your mind the identity of the person that you want to be, the self-image. And then you're going to create the beliefs around that identity. And guess what's going to happen? The actions are going to follow. You're going to start thinking, for example, if you want to have the identity of a millionaire, you start thinking like a millionaire. You start acting like a millionaire. You have beliefs of a millionaire. And with enough time, guess what's going to happen? You're going to become a millionaire simply because you have positioned your identity in that empowering way. You have beliefs that support the fact that you're a millionaire. Let me let you in on some spiritual game. The way the universe works, and we now know this to be true with the progressions in like quantum physics and quantum mechanics, we can see that you at a subatomic level, at a quantum level, attract that which what you are. So if you're the type of person that's saying, in quotes, I want to be a millionaire, what's going to happen? What is this statement really saying spiritually? If you say, I want to be a millionaire, what does that mean? What is that saying to your identity. Well, what it's saying is that I'm not a millionaire right now. If you're saying I want to be a millionaire, by its very definition, you're saying that you're not a millionaire right now. And if your identity is that of not a millionaire, guess what's going to happen? Your actions are going to align with that. If you're constantly saying to yourself, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be like in really, really good shape. You're just telling yourself that you don't have those things, which distances yourself from them at a spiritual level. So if you attract that which what you are, and you're constantly repeating to yourself that you don't have the thing that you actually want, you're creating distance between yourself and your goal. So instead of saying, I want to be a millionaire, just start acting as if you are a millionaire. All of your beliefs will align with that. All of your actions will align with it. And before you know, you're going to start taking risks like a millionaire. You're going to start increasing your income like a millionaire would. And everything is just going to fall into place naturally. There was a point in my life where I was so hyper disciplined. I was waking up early, 5 a.m. every day. I was getting my 8 hours of sleep. I stopped working 2 hours before bed. I stopped screens 1 hour before bed. I stopped eating 3 hours before bed. I was stretching every day. I was doing cold showers every day. I was going to the gym every day. I was active in my spiritual life every single day. That was one of the periods in my life where I made the least amount of money. And for so long, I didn't understand why. The reason why is because, number one, all that morning routine bullshit that I was doing you know how much money it made me? Fucking zero. Didn't make me any money. They can potentially, you could argue they indirectly make you money because they like improve your discipline, blah, blah, blah. But directly, they don't make you money. The problem was I was spending so much time spiritually distancing myself from my goals. Me saying I want to be a millionaire is the equivalent in like spiritual terms of saying I'm not a millionaire. It's like saying that over and over and over again. So every day that I would meditate on the fact that I wasn't a millionaire, and I would just be attracting that into my life. I was attracting the fact that I wasn't rich. And I didn't understand why I wasn't making any money. Of course, you could take it down to back to the objective reality. The real reason I wasn't making money because I wasn't doing the right things in my business. But it all starts spiritually. Like I said in the beginning, everything kind of stems from your mindset. Your reality is a physical representation of everything that's going on in your mind. So if you don't have the reality that you want, that means that you don't have an internal locus of control and you're not thinking the right things. Your identity is not aligned with the reality that you want to create. And so that's why it's so important to go through this Stoic sparring practice so that you can actually identify, number one, like let go of all the emotions that are keeping you from succeeding, and then actually get objective clarity around the things you need to do. Then with risk, passive risk is bad risk. That's staying in the same spot. That's trying to figure out everything yourself. That's saying that I'll try it myself first before I decide to like invest in a mentor or a coach or whatever. That in life, you're either growing or you're dying. So passive risk is bad because there's no growth. You are dying. You're stagnating. The good risk for you to have in life is called active risk. This is when you're investing in yourself. You're actually growing. The worst, scariest thing ever to happen in my life would be for a whole 12 months to go by just to realize that I'm the same person. I'm living in the same place, making the same money with the same friends, and I've made no progress towards my goals. That's the biggest risk in life, hands down. And so this all stems from your identity. So Psycho-Cybernetics does a phenomenal job teaching this, but you need to start at the identity level. You can't just try to change your actions. You can't just start acting like you're a millionaire. You have to be a millionaire if that's what you want. You have to be a person who's in ridiculously good shape. That's just who you are. That's your identity. All your beliefs center around that. And so then all the actions would follow. So if you're saying you have these goals and things that you want to do, if you have those things, then you're just saying, I want this, I want that. What you're really telling the universe, what you're telling God is, I don't have this, I don't have that. Spiritually, that's the reason that you're not successful. Last thing I'm going to leave you guys with here is the 3 levels of belief. Anytime that you are investing in yourself, anytime that you're taking one of those active risks, there's really 3, kind of variables, 3 beliefs that you need to have in order to actually see success. Belief number 1 is belief in yourself. Look, I know you guys are in the right place because you're watching my content, and I'm here to shift your mindset and to put you in the right state so that when you're finally ready to go all in into whatever it is you want to do, that you're going in with the right mindset. You need to have belief in yourself. And what this means is, and I'm going to get to this in just 1 second, but what this really means is that you're the type of person that takes action. You get feedback, you immediately take action. You come across a problem in your business, in your life, you reach out to a coach or a mentor, and you immediately improve. The thing that most beginners miss, like the reason that most people aren't successful, is simply because they don't have a feedback loop. They'll take the action, they'll work their ass off, but they don't have anybody who's additional perspective to tell them where they're going wrong. They're just trying to figure out everything themselves. And the problem is, it stems from number one. If you don't have that initial belief in yourself, how can you expect to be successful? The second level of belief that you need to have is belief in the vehicle, right? So I'm going to keep this specific to e-commerce because I do e-commerce myself, and I think that's most applicable here. But do you have belief? Like, let's say you're like, Mark, I believe in myself, dude. I'm a hard worker. I'll get it done. Anytime I get feedback, I'll implement it. I'm always actively investing in myself and doing this, doing that. I will give this my 150% and I will do whatever it takes to succeed. Cool. You checked off the first belief. Next is belief in the vehicle. Do you believe that e-commerce is the best way for you to achieve your goals? I'll always be super real with you guys. Every make money online, kind of side hustle or online business that is out there, it has worked for somebody at some point in time. All of them, quote unquote, work. All of them work. Now, can you break them all down and say there's pros and cons to each? Absolutely. I could give you my own personal ranking behind my favorite online businesses, my favorite side hustles, the one that provide you with the most amount of freedom, the ones that can make you the most money. I can rank them on every single level, partially because I've done many of them myself. So I can tell you from an objective point of view which ones I think are best, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to say, do you believe that e-commerce is the way for you to achieve your goals? And for me, I can speak from personal experience and I'll let you decide for yourself. The answer was yes when I was initially starting out. The reason why is because I knew a few things about e-com. Number one, I knew that there was insane amount of leverage. And all I mean by leverage here, guys, is e-com is very unique in that you can scale up very quickly and very profitably, basically without adding any additional overhead to your business. Like all the overhead, quote unquote, should just be your marketing cost, your ad spend, your influencers, whatever is getting more customers in. That's always one of your biggest expenses in an e-commerce business. But that's actually a good thing, because if you have a product that is successful and you want to make more money with it, it's actually a very simple formula. You spend more money on ads, right? You don't have to increase your costs like crazy. It isn't the type of business like an agency, for example. An agency, the more clients that you get, the more you have to build up your team to actually fulfill on those clients. That doesn't scale at all. Cool to say that you're making 10K a month in your agency, but how good are the results that you're getting, number one? And two, what's gonna happen when you wanna get to 50K per month? You're gonna have to 5x the team that you have. You're gonna have to start being a real leader of your team, just to get to 50K a month. You can run a $300,000 per month e-commerce business with 2 or 3 people. You could even do it with 1. Not many businesses out there are like that. It's very, very leveraged. The other amazing benefit that I wanted to keep in mind for e-commerce was the exit potential. You don't have to be making millions and millions of dollars to sell your e-commerce business. If you have an e-commerce business that just does 7 figures a year, that's $80,000 a month, right? That is a business that, if it's healthy, investors will want to buy. And depending on your margins, that can be an amazing business to exit. That can be life-changing money for you. So do you have belief in yourself and belief in the vehicle? For me, and probably for most of you watching this, you have belief in the vehicle and you have belief in yourself. The final belief that you really need here is going to be what I call belief in your coach. I'll say coach/mentor. This is the third belief that you need to have. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to be real with you guys. Can you succeed in e-commerce without a coach? Absolutely. Can you succeed without a mentor? Yeah. Can you succeed without a course? Anything paid? Absolutely. The thing is, anytime you want to get good at anything, you're going to pay in one of 2 ways. You're either going to pay with your time or you're going to pay with your money. And for me, I know I'm on the younger side of individuals on this planet. That doesn't mean that I want to pay with my time. Time is something you can never get back. Money is something that I know I'll make a lot more in the future. Even when I was just starting out, by the way, I had this belief. I invested my last $3,000. I had $3,500 in my bank account, and I invested in a mentor who's now my business partner, Alex. I invested my last $3,000 into that mentorship. I only had $500 left. Now, most people, if I told that to my family, my friends, whatever, they would say I'm fucking stupid. They would say I'm stupid. But even when I was starting out, I had this belief. I really absolutely believed in myself because I was working on building those empowering beliefs every single day. I had belief in the vehicle. I saw people all around me succeeding. Why couldn't I? In fact, I literally believed I was smarter than the people succeeding. I was like, how are there people dumber than me making more money than me? This is crazy. So I had the belief in myself. I had belief in the vehicle. I saw people succeeding. The final thing that I needed was belief in a coach or mentor. And I've always been a big proponent of investing aggressively in yourself. I don't want to pay with my time. I have very aggressive financial goals for myself over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm not going to get there by fucking being patient. I don't like being patient. I want to learn things now. If that means going to the top guy in the industry and paying him, this is a true story, by the way. I went to the top marketer on this fucking planet that I personally knew, and I said, look, I know you don't do this a lot, but I want to pay you for an hour of your time. He said, it's $5,000. I wired him that money within 10 minutes. For 1 hour, $5,000. I did the same thing with another mentor of mine, $22,000. Boom, gone. 22 grand. And the only reason I'm comfortable doing that is because I'm paying for all the shit that they learned for the years and years that they put in mastering their craft. I don't want to put in those years. I want a fucking shortcut. This is America. I want a shortcut. I want things fast. I want things now. That's not really the point. The point is that I really don't want to pay with my time because I know that's going to be something that I'll never get back. And if other people already put in the time to figure something out that I don't have, I will happily reach into my pocket and pay that person money so I can understand how they operate, how they think, so I can get the strategies that I know I need to succeed. So if you have these 3 beliefs, which again, most of you watching this, you probably do, this is what you need to succeed. You need belief in yourself, you need belief in the vehicle, and you need belief in a coach or mentor. This whole concept right here, like you either pay with your time or your money, this is what most young people suffer from because you think that you're young. Like let's say that you're in the 18 to 30 years old range. Generally speaking, you're pretty freaking young. You got a lot of life ahead of you. And I'm saying this from my perspective as a young individual. It's so easy to get brainwashed into believing that you have time. You don't have time. You don't have time. I know that you want to make money for a very, very deep reason. Maybe you want to retire your parents. Maybe you want to pay off your house. You don't have time. You need to take action now. Have some urgency, man. I love Gary Vee and I love his philosophy on patience. You can be patient in the macro, but in the micro, you should not have patience. You should be impatient. You should want everything right fucking now. You should take action wickedly fast. Because if that's who you are, you know what this shows? If you're willing to go into your pocket to invest in self-education, especially if you're young, that means that you have wisdom. And wisdom typically comes with what? With age, with time. I don't want to wait. I'm impatient. All right, I want to succeed quickly. And I think the most wise people on the planet understand that time is something you can never get back. So with that said, do you pay with your time or your money? For me, the answer is always going to be money. And if it's at that level where it's like just beyond your level of comfort, like it's a lot of money, it's the most amount of money you've ever invested, let's say, that means that it's exactly the thing that you have to do. If you feel that little sense of fear and anxiety inside of you, like I did years ago when I invested my last 3K into a mentorship, when I felt that emotion and still did it, it's because my beliefs aligned that of a successful person with that of a millionaire, with that of a person who is wise, who understands that they will never get back time. If you guys want to actually take that step, take the leap and join Brand Builders Academy, which is the e-com program that I have with Alex Fedotov, one-on-one support, we have the best content on the face of the earth, the most amount of success stories. Just click the first link in the description. You can apply for that at any point in time. The one thing I want to leave you with is exactly what's on my screen right now. I really urge you to challenge your own belief. Everybody watching this video right now has a limiting belief. You have at least one. Take some time, sit down, and objectively analyze the beliefs that you have, because not all of them are leading you to the life that you want. Some of them are limiting beliefs. They're keeping you from the life that you want. And like I've said before, success is not a game of adding things into your life. It's not a game of addition. It's a game of subtracting. It's a game of removing the limiting beliefs that you have so that there's nothing in the way between you and your goals. That's the fastest way to succeed. Not by adding these productivity hacks, not by, doing your journaling, your morning routine, all that shit. It's simply by removing all the waste, all the noise, so that it's just you and your goals. So with that, thank you everyone for being here. I'll see you in the next